Recording has started.
Hello, Hannah. I would like to thank you for taking the time to participate in this initiative of recording some videos with Grand Union DTP PhD students where they provide information on their experiences engaging with the DTP and the opportunities, funding opportunities it provides. And maybe we can start by you briefly introducing yourself. I'll start. Okay, I'm Denica, and I'm the postgraduate placements officer for social sciences, helping PhD students like yourself set up placements.
Yes, so my name's Hannah Smith, and I'm a DPhil student at the Centre for Socio-Legal Studies and the Centre for Health, Law and Emerging Technologies. I'm funded by the ESRC, and my project looks at secondary uses of administrative data in social science research, looking at the approach the law takes and looking at societal expectations towards that use of data and the differences between them and how we respond to those differences. And so I'm going to talk about today my experience of a 3-month internship that was kindly funded by the ESRC and the DTP with Policy Lab, which is a part of the Cabinet Office of the UK government that takes a people-centred approach to policy making and kind of uses data, digital methods and design and unite them together to come up with innovative solutions to societal problems.
That's sounds very exciting and timely area for research nowadays with all the considerations about privacy and use of data. And it seems that the placement has been it was related to your area of research. I'd like to ask you what motivated you to explore the options of a placement or internship as part of your PhD, and how did you come across that one? Did you try to organize some placements yourself?
Yeah, so I think from the very start of my DPhil kind of experience, DPhil journey, I haven't been sold on a particular career path. So I'm not 100% sure whether I wanted to pursue academia, 100% sure whether I wanted to pursue something outside academia, and I thought the best way to find out what worked for me is to try and experience these different career paths as much as possible and to try and find out what suits me and what is important to me. So as part of my PhD thesis, what I've realized is the parts that I enjoy are the parts where you try and engage with people and the parts of my thesis that seek to make a tangible difference. And so I would go to events run by the ESRC that look to how you can collaborate with other organizations and possible routes to internships with these organizations. I found some of these a bit tricky trying to set them up by myself because my parameters weren't really very fixed. I kind of knew what sort of interested me and knew what definitely didn't interest me, but trying to find organizations that fitted that, I was finding it quite tricky, and I was finding I was spending a lot of time only to kind of not really get anywhere. But what I found really useful was speaking to different people, and I remember speaking to you and discussing kind of what is it that I wanted from my PhD, what it was that the DTP could potentially offer to me beyond just the financial support for undertaking the PhD. And we spoke in detail about what I would quite like from an internship. And it was you that sent the email that flagged the opportunity that in the end I was successful in getting. And I'm really grateful for you to doing that because I don't know if I'd have been able to find it myself. And I think it just shows how if you are engaged with individuals within the DTP, that they are able to really help you and they are really there and open to hearing about what it is that you want from your PhD and trying their best to accommodate that. So yeah, so when I read about what it was that they were doing, how important collaboration was, how important innovation was, all about being people-centered, I was really sold. And so that's when I applied for the opportunity, went for an interview in London, and was lucky enough to be offered a 3-month placement there.
Thanks for the kind words about the DTP and the support our team provides, Hannah. I hope more students will watch these videos and get inspired to at least approaches to see what's possible and what might be suitable for them. And I'm glad that it worked out for you, and we managed to find an organization that was so suitable to your interests. Would you tell us a bit more about what the placement was about? What was the focus of it? What were your tasks and outputs from that internship?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, Policy Lab is part of the Cabinet Office within the UK government, and it's all about innovative approaches to policy making, and it's very people-centered in trying to find out what problems are as well as how to solve them. So they're commissioned by different departments within government that will come to them saying, we've identified this problem and we're looking for a different way to try and solve it. We identified that the opinions and the values that people hold are for some reason really important in this area. Can you help us go out and provide some solutions? And one of the things Policy Lab is really good at doing is co-designing solutions. So they bring people affected by the policy into the conversation really early so that they can have meaningful engagement and input and do this in really innovative ways. So they have video ethnographers on their team that can go out there, speak to people about their experiences and bring those experiences to people within government. And it just really opens up a completely different conversation when you're able to do that. And they work very agilely, very flexibly, and it means the solutions that they bring can be further developed and further iterated, and they draw upon such a range of different backgrounds that I think what they produce is really unique. You have designers, you have anthropologists, you have sociologists that are all bringing their skills together and kind of pursuing that common goal. And I think it made the outputs that they produced just really meaningful and really focused on that goal of people-centered approaches to policy making.
It's exciting. It's actually great to hear that a governmental unit has such an approach to their work, and probably it's not what most people think of when they hear government and policy making. They don't really think about design thinking approaches, agile, and combining social science research and evidence-based approaches to policy making. I'll ask you to just elaborate.
I just wanted to say one of the things I was really worried about is that by pursuing a PhD, am I making myself more unemployable? And I was worried that I was missing out on the opportunity to develop skills that would be seen as beneficial in the workplace, and at the same time developing skills that weren't really valued and recognized in the workplace. But I was really heartened just to see how much the skills that I gained during my PhD in terms of like this research, in terms of this evidence, in terms of being able to take something that's been given to you and really testing it and really analyzing it, was skills that were so valued within that team and within the broader cabinet office that I felt that they did respect and they did see value in what I was bringing as a DPhil student. And it made me realize that just by doing a DPhil doesn't mean you have to pursue an academic career, and the skills that you develop outside of this thesis are also really valued by employers, and that they are very transferable and they are really desirable. And so I found that really reassuring, and it was nice to have an opportunity to kind of tailor them to a workplace, because obviously it is a very different environment to the kind of academic environment. And that was one of the things that was kind of learning how to develop that and how to evolve my skills so that they were suitable in the workplace was one of the challenges for me. But I was incredibly supported by everyone from the team, and they gave such good constructive feedback, and they kept me really at the heart of everything throughout, which helped build my confidence in my skills and my confidence to contribute.
That's really great to hear, and it probably will be encouraging for students who might feel they don't have the sufficient skills or expertise to apply or work for these internships with government or work in roles like that. And also, as you said, it's you have seen that doing a PhD, you develop skills that can be used outside of academia. But I think they can also, doing an internship like that develops your skills further. Even if you would like to stay in academia, you'd be able to use this to engage and collaborate with organizations for your research. What I wanted to ask you was how whether the placement has met your expectations. What were the biggest challenges and benefits that you can identify, and the ways in which you actually used those skills in the projects that the Policy Lab was working on?
I think it really exceeded my expectations. I think I went into it expecting to be treated as an intern, especially because it was only 3 months long. I expected that I would be given some work and it would be quite interesting, but I'd still be quite remote from the team almost, and that everything would be given in line with me just being there for 3 months, when actually I felt right at the heart of the team from the beginning. And I felt that right from the start that my opinions and that my views on matters were welcomed and were really engaged with meaningfully, and that space was always created for me to have some kind of input. It was one of the most encouraging and supportive environments that I've worked in, and that made a difference and helped me settle in very quickly, which I think was quite important, because it is the kind of workplace where you're very much thrown in at the deep end. Like you have to very much, you're learning by doing, and I think that was one of the trickier aspects for me. Was I'm quite a perfectionist, and I think in some ways doing the PhD has exacerbated that, because you don't want to be showing your chapters until they're really near perfect, and you go away and you spend hours trying to work through a little point in your thesis, and that doesn't really fit with that kind of very rapid, very innovative, very iterative, agile approach to working that Policy Lab took. So it was trying to meld those two ways of working and bring the best of both of them together. And they were really good at encouraging me to kind of see the bigger picture, and encouraging me to see when sometimes it made more sense to be able to look at different tasks and prioritize in a different way than I had been doing in my PhD. And it was always done in a way that was really encouraging, really collaborative, and I always felt incredibly supported. And I really enjoyed that I was able to go on field work as well, which again made me feel like a real valued member of the team, is that it would just be me representing Policy Lab on this field work. So the trust that they placed in me, because I would be potentially interacting with quite vulnerable people, or I'd be interacting in a way that they only had that one opportunity to be with that person, and they would have to feed back their views to the government department that had commissioned them. And they had no problem in placing trust in me to go and do that. Which I found at the time terrifying, but it was something that I did, and it was something that they were happy for me to do, and I learned so much from that experience, and so much from being able to contribute to a bigger project, that I just really enjoyed it, and it really sparked a passion about that communicating to people and bringing people into the policy-making process that I hope to reflect in my thesis. Like, I definitely think it's had an impact on the approach my thesis will take.
Thanks a lot, Hannah, for sharing your experience and insight about your DTP doctoral placement. And I'll just ask you if you have any last comments for the new cohort of DTP students.
I just really urge you to make the most of all of the opportunities that the DTP, the ESRC, and the Social Science Division can offer. I have developed so many skills and really made some excellent connections to people by doing this. And I don't mean connections in a way that just serves me in terms of future careers, but in exploring what's important to me and exploring what difference it makes for me to do this PhD and how I can take it forward and how I can use the various skills that I'm building to build the best career for myself that I find fulfilling, because that's the important thing. At the end of the day, I want to do something with my life that I find fulfilling, and the experiences that are offered have really helped me to do that. And I just want to take an opportunity to thank you, because you've been an integral part of that process, Denitsa. So thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. And thanks for the great message to the students. And I wish you all the best in your research and future career.